Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
The mindset you need to drive business success. Now, you would understand if you're a coach, consultant, or small to medium business, growing your business is one of the toughest endeavors you could actually embark on your own. You know, you go from balancing books, driving sales, all the things that you need to make sure that your business is profitable and enjoyable. And a lot of coaches and consultants actually fail to achieve the level of success that they deserve simply because they don't take control of their own business. And the reason why this happens a lot is because most of us, when we started on or embarked on this journey to become a coach or consultant, it was out of frustration based on where we were working before. Either we didn't, align with the values of the business we worked for, or either we didn't align with what they thought of us as a person, and all those frustrations would have, gotten you to start your business. And now you're in the middle of it all, and you're noticing that as an entrepreneur, marketing is just one aspect of running a successful business. You go from hiring and managing new staff and balancing books and also trying to drive growth and a lot more other things that are expected of you as a business owner. And it all feels like a constant balancing act, where you're pulled in multiple different directions all at once. And it's not happening as if they wait until you've, caught your breath or things like that. Everything just lands on your lap like that, like I did this morning. I was actually taking my little girl to kindergarten, in the morning, and I received a call from one of our biggest clients. Yes, I understand the market is a little bit, going through a downturn, and a lot of people can't really honor their dues, and especially invoices that just automatically, show up, and they're probably not prepared and ready for them. And I actually listened to the client's voice while he was trying to nitpick everything that what he thinks we didn't do, in the previous month, just so he could swindle himself out of not paying an invoice. You know what I mean? And I was just listening, and I was like, you know what? I hear you, bruh. And you trying to, wiggle yourself out of paying this invoice. I would probably be doing the same if I didn't plan ahead or actually didn't create my business in such a way that, I've got contingencies when things of this nature happen. So I was just thinking, had this happened to either somebody, who's a coach or consultant, either they're just getting started or they're also going through, financial, ups and downs, this could actually put a big dent on them, because it is a significant invoice that this person was trying to wiggle themselves out of, And I was actually thinking, most of the coaches and consultants that I speak to, they actually follow the old model of being of service to their client. And guess what happens, normally when you're like that? Clients take advantage. Whenever they can wiggle themselves out of paying their dues, they will absolutely take advantage. And one other thing that you also need to be protecting yourself, against is, attracting freebie seekers or people that will buckle at any given moment just to get out of paying an invoice, because they are, sort of looking at small things that you overlooked, or they think you overlooked based on the contracts. So a lot of coaches and consultants, I want you to really pay attention to this podcast today, because if you're taking the subservient role and just feeling grateful that if a client shows up on your door with any crumb of work, or offers you some sort of payment, you should actually start treating them as if they are king and you deserve the crumbs of work that come your way. I mean, when it comes to fee negotiations, sometimes a lot of coaches and consultants cede power to their clients because they're not marketing themselves enough so that they get consistent flow of clients. If you are going through a drought of work, and then somebody shows up at your doorstep with some sort of a project that you can sink your teeth in, a lot of coaches and consultants don't actually charge what they're worth. I've done a lot of podcasts around knowing your value and actually charging your worth, because a lot of them will just buckle under the pressure of just wanting to close that sale or actually put that deal across. Now, I was just thinking to myself, I'm doing what I love, which is being with my little girl, and this guy calls me, and I just told him, come on, man, all right, let's look at what you're talking about. He would have sat in front of his computer and he was at an advantage during that phone call, and he called me at a time when I was least prepared for me to show him exactly what it is that we have done for him and what sort of results he's actually receiving. But obviously, because of my own self-worth and my knowing exactly what's happening within my business, I went in and I was like, listen, man, we did this, we did that, you approved that, you actually wanted more of this, we went above and beyond to make sure that you got your results, please pay that invoice. And you know what happened? He just said, oh yeah, okay, fine, you know what, maybe in December we'll just start off on a clean slate. Let me tell you something. The new and better model is to be a coach or consultant who sits firmly in the driver's seat. Your customers, your clients, they're always going to want to take advantage, if they notice or if they can smell, fear in anything that you're doing. And if you don't show up and really have a backbone, they will definitely take you to the cleaners. Now, let me tell you something. If you're a coach or consultant who actually, have a plan, have proper cash flow goals, proper cash flow projections and things of that nature, you will actually not be taken for a ride by clients that are just freebie seekers out there. You set your revenue goals and you actually choose your clients carefully and not just picking anything that's got blood flowing through its veins and a credit card just that can only afford the first payment. If you're out there and marketing yourself in a way that actually associates with a high level of value in your business, your customers will respect you. Your customers would definitely, not just show up or would actually be embarrassed, to ring you up and try and swindle themselves out of, paying you as much as possible. And this now leaves you with your real goal, which is just to help your clients achieve their results so that they don't find any loopholes, in any of the contracts or any of the arrangements that you might have. Okay. At the end of the day, it's a balancing act that you need to be doing with your time, a balancing act that you need to be doing with actually providing value. As you know, we do get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. All right. So if you have a plan for your business, you actually spend very little time looking for work. Okay, because work comes to you and mainly through word of mouth and referrals. And if you've got funnels that are already set up with your marketing, you're not going to have to worry about where your next customer is going to come from. And this now puts you in control of any fee negotiations that might come by or any position that your clients might actually think they can one up you, just predicated on the fact that they think they can be looking at the contract and tell you when you didn't deliver just because you're probably out in the marketplace trying to get new customers so that you can actually replenish your revenue, double your income streams. Okay. So if you're a coach or consultant that has actually got all your ducks in a row, so to speak. You actually can watch carefully for all the opportunities that you can leverage your knowledge, your expertise in ways that could actually enable you to create new and profitable streams of income. And this is one of the things that I usually help my clients with, because if you can't climb the ladder of success with your hands full, okay? So half of the time, a lot of coaches and consultants are out there looking for work. They're out there trying to prove their own expertise and talking to clients that sometimes might not even be willing and able to pay for their services, instead of letting their marketing do that for them, instead of letting their automated marketing systems and funnels actually self-select those people who need to be spending their time. And you can now carefully look out for opportunities where you can leverage your knowledge and expertise without compromising on your actual value and the fees that you can actually charge in the marketplace. All right. At the end of the day, if you really want to get in the driver's seat of your freelance business, I encourage you to reach out. We've got systems and tools that would definitely put you in a position to, start, scale, and grow a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And if you stick around, I will be letting you know, how this all works out. But right now, I really want to give you that essential mindset shift that takes you away from the employee mindset to that person that actually owns their own business. Because if you are now a business owner, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that need to be happening in your business for it to function. You're hiring new staff, you're, doing lead generation, you're also nurturing those customers that are not quite ready to buy from you a lot. And it all seems like it's, demanding off of your time. And let me tell you something, coaches and consultants and a lot of small to medium businesses and freelancers, they actually love to talk about freedom and flexibility that comes along with doing the work that they're doing. They wake up at whatever time they want, they work when they want, and they actually take on the types of projects that they feel are good for them and that actually align with who they are as a person. And it all sounds great. I mean, this is the best thing that everybody wants. Who doesn't want maybe a portable career, they can build around their lifestyle? Everybody talks about the laptop lifestyle and things of that nature, but I usually hardly ever come across people at the beach with their laptops on. The glare of the laptop screen, and also you don't want sand going in between the keypad, the keyboard there, and then it will actually ruin your computer. Okay. What you need to create is a lifestyle that you never want to take a vacation off of, and that's the mindset that you really want to create, especially if you're going to be a successful coach or consultant. And frankly, let me tell you something. Good coaches and good consultants are in high demand. So many people want their health, their wealth, their relationships looked after. You know what I mean? What is it that you're bringing into the table that people can't, are losing sleep over? That is exactly what you need to be focusing on in order for you to create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And guess what? That health, that wealth, and relationships, people are going to need to be consulted on. People are going to need training on. People are going to need information around all of that. Somebody's going to have to write all those ebooks, all those landing pages, all those blog articles, whatever social media ads that people are thumbing through right now, and everything else that goes into today's, sales and marketing cycles. You might as well be, one of the people that is on the receiving end of all that, noise that's happening on the internet without you, falling prey to deceptive Facebook ads and not actually structuring your business and having the mindset that will actually, help you create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Yet, if you really want to enjoy the freedom and flexibility of this life of a well-paid coach or consultant, you're going to need to transition basically, from the mindset of just being maybe a freelancer to an actual business owner. And there's a mindset, that actually comes with it. And you gotta make the shift. And this is something that nobody can ever do for you. You actually have to do it on your own. And I get it. If you're used to working for others and maybe following directions in your previous job, you now being in charge and being responsible, from everything from doing the dishes to cleaning the office and actually, looking at your profit and loss statements. This can be a bit scary. It is a lot scary to a lot of people, and that's the reason why they just cede, their control to all these people that come along, and just demand off of their time. I remember when I was in high school, I was we were part of a rebellious group that started a rugby team just out of rebellion because we couldn't fit in any other sports that were happening. And I was part of the first lineup, and I was a good runner, something that I've never really spoken about. And in my team, I was the guy who was doing the flank. Okay, so I was the runner of that team. I was wearing jersey number 14. And I remember, when we did our first inter-schools rugby tournament, that was the first tournament, and that was the first game we had played with an actual worthy opponent. Okay, and guess what happened? Everyone was afraid. Everybody was afraid to touch the ball because they didn't want to be tackled. They did not want to get hurt. Okay, because once we were playing and practicing at school, we were doing what's called touch rugby, where you don't necessarily have to tackle. You just touch the person, and then they have to cede the ball. You know why? Because they've been conquered. And on that particular day, we were not prepared for any tackles. I remember I was actually, the person who was passed the ball to, and I ran as fast as I could, but I could hear the footprints of the bigger, shorter, stunt guy that was behind me, and I was just afraid that if he could catch me, he was going to tackle me. I think I was about 2 meters away from the touch line, and I actually just threw the ball, and I didn't even do a touchdown because I was afraid to be tackled because I'd never been tackled before. So a lot of us and a lot of freelance business owners go into business and they are afraid, whenever there's a conflict within business, or they're afraid to confront their clients if their clients are actually not going to be able to pay, their bills and things of that nature. And like I mentioned earlier on, a lot of coaches and consultants are following an old model of being of service to their clients, and then they take that subservient role. When somebody feels like they're being overly respected, they're being feared, guess what? They take advantage. It's like when you see a dog walking on the street, and if you maintain eye contact with the dog, it knows you're the dominant one. If you don't, it will come and try and assert its dominance on you. And people are like that. When they smell blood, they literally go for the jugular. Okay, so I get it. If you're used to maybe working for others and maybe following directions, sitting on the driver's seat can actually be a little bit scary. It was also the same for me, like I said in the rugby story. And when I also started my business, I just arrived in Australia. I had no idea how to get clients. I did not know what to say. I didn't know how to create a proposal. I didn't even know how to build a pipeline or even invoice anyone so that I could, demand money off of them. And maybe you can relate, maybe you can actually relate. Let me share another quick story. I think it was circa 2014, and I'd screwed up my courage, to attend, a local networking events gig that was run through the M.E.D.I.A then. And, just to drum up business, I thought I'd talk to people about their online marketing needs, since I did know a little bit about SEO and, content writing. And, thanks to my previous work, in a company that taught me all about SEO. But as soon as other business people realized that I had online experience, they actually started asking me questions about social media. And social media was still very new and something that a lot of people didn't quite grasp at that time. At first I was actually perplexed by these questions because I had no idea that other business people didn't even connect online or use tools like Facebook to actually build relationships. And after all, I've been doing it for all the time. The first reason why I actually started my business was because I'd created a Facebook page, for the place that I was working at. I'd watched a few webinars from Seth Godin and people of that nature, and how, they were starting to talk about offering social media services to small to medium business clients. It was a light bulb moment for me, and I was full of ideas. So I sent off an email to one of my mentors at that time asking what people actually expected in a service package that had social media in it. And, a lot of people didn't have any expectation because it was up to the individual that was offering the service. Okay, so it was a land grab at that particular time because the market did not quite know what to expect, what to ask for. They were just working based on what you were going to provide them as the expert. They were hiring you because you were the expert, and it was actually a mind-blowing moment when you actually consider that it is really up to you to drive the conversations, to drive, the proposals, to drive everything of your service offering. The reason why people are hiring you is just simply because they are looking for somebody to point a finger at when things go wrong. So you might as well take full ownership of the whole process. That way, when people point fingers at you, you are prepared to actually stand by what it is that you have provided for them. So it's quite mind-blowing that whatever we're doing, the coaching, the training, the information, the expertise, our clients are actually just expecting us to provide them, with the results that we're offering. Okay. So what did I do? I actually started branding myself as the SEO and social media Marvin in my area. And I was offering social media management and working with many local businesses. And, at any given moment, I was actually learning far ahead of them and then offering the service. And nobody was actually questioning me, So offering social media management and working with many, local businesses is basically what now actually was the entry point in me getting started in business. And through the years from that starting point, I've actually realized that I'm responsible for my business. Okay. It's more than just meeting deadlines. It's also, I need to be responsible for client relationship expectations. I need to be responsible for how the project goes. It's about your mindset and your attitude about, your own coaching or consulting business that you need to make a shift. All right. The client is expecting results from you. Whereas when you're working in somebody else's business, guess what was happening? Your boss was actually looking after everything. You had a marketing department that was generating all the leads. Now it falls on you. You need to make the shift from being a freelancer to an actual business owner who can actually, collaborate and take advantage of everything that's happening. That way, you firmly sit in the driver's seat, so you've got a pulse of what's going to make your business profitable and enjoyable. So a few coaches and consultants that I speak to half of the time still have that employee mindset. You need to get rid of that. Okay, I'll give you another example. Recently I tried to pass on a referral to an acquaintance, who was looking for work, and this person had, they'd been writing and marketing, and I've been working with them on a few other projects. And while they were actually now job hunting because they thought maybe it wasn't, good for them to be, working on their own because their money was not consistent, I actually thought they might be interested in a potential project instead of actually looking for work. So I sent along a brief summary, saying this was a freelance project with a startup, in the automotive space. And I briefly described what I knew about it. And then they, if they thought it actually sounded interesting, then I'd make an introduction. And guess what happened? The person came back to me with a barrage of questions that made me realize that this person still had the employee mindset. And look at, listen to the questions that they asked me. They were like, is the job full-time or part-time? Is it remote? How much does it pay? All of those questions are employee questions. Do you see how these questions cede all the kinds of control to the person offering the project? Because if the person says, okay, I want you full time, guess what? You're not going to be looking for other jobs. If they say, I want you to be coming to my office, then it means you're going to be spending all the time commuting, and you can't offer the service, from the comfort of your own home. And how much does it pay? automatically, if you're not showing how valuable you are going to be, because we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace, you are giving them authority over you. Okay, and a lot of us are actually ceding power to our clients. We actually buckle under the pressure, because we've been trying so hard to do it by ourselves. That way, we actually let the clients dictate, the terms and conditions that actually suit them best. So when you're thinking like a freelancer, or maybe somebody who's just getting started, and you simply respond yes or no, I will be interested, then guess what? If you say yes, I would have made that sort of introduction and let the two of you sort of take it over from there. You know what I mean? But if somebody, moves from being a freelancer to a business owner, you would set up a time to talk with that prospective client, and do some sort of a discovery call where you actually see if that person is your ideal client, or it's an ideal opportunity, and see if there's a good fit for both of you, and actually start determining the project scope, payment terms, and things of that nature. As a business owner, the acquaintance that I sent a referral should have asked me questions like, what are the goals of this project? What is the priority right now? What is the thing that would actually get them to realize that this relationship has been a success? Is it ongoing, or is it a one-off project? Things of that nature. You know what I mean? Because these questions actually give you some sort of insight into the importance of the project that you're being asked to undertake, and your role, and what is expected of you. Some people don't quite do this, and they don't go out of their way to actually show people they can help them, but actually help them. So how can you then develop this business owner mindset? It takes a redemptive amount of time. It takes a redemptive amount of personal growth. It takes a redemptive amount of just really knowing what your goals are. Do you know what I mean? Because, if you actually put your goals, first and, front and center of what it is that you're doing, you will never attract people that don't respect who you are as a business. You will never attract, you would never say things that don't spell exactly how much, value you're bringing to the marketplace. So if you set goals, and if you choose your clients carefully, you know what? You now have time to market yourself in a way that actually associates high level of value within your business. And, the first step that you want to do is maybe just recognize there's an actual difference, okay, between somebody who's just a freelancer, or, a run-of-the-mill coach, and somebody who's actually owning a business. You want to spend time around other, coaches and consultants that are actually kicking goals and actually winning this whole game, of marketing themselves, and then start noticing the type of language that other, business owners use, because there's a different language that people, start speaking, because they understand who their target market is. They have clarified their message. They know the kind of media they need to use in order to match that message to the target market that they've actually chosen. All right, and they've got ways of capturing leads through funnels, and they've got ways of nurturing those leads into customers that pay, stay, and refer. And not those that are really successful actually have a sales conversion strategy which helps their clients understand that they actually have the solutions for the problems that they have. And once that has happened, those clients are in their nurturing system of sorts. They start delivering a world-class experience, so that people can pay, stay, and actually refer. And they actually start increasing the customer value, and actually have a sales conversion strategy which actually helps or arms their clients with ammunition to get them referrals. All right. So have you noticed that all of the things that I've mentioned, yes, it might sound like a lot of work, but you can build it within your business. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the language changes. How you start talking about project structure, how you start talking about payment terms, and the way you talk about how you work actually changes, and your clients can understand that language, and they know the difference. We get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. All right. An additional idea that you really need to do in order for you to actually have a business that's profitable and enjoyable, with actual proven success to help you run your business efficiently, is to get testimonials. Who is talking about your business in such a way that they will scream on top of their lungs to their family, their relatives, or even strangers on the bus? Who is talking about you in such a way that will actually help you start, scale, and grow a business that's profitable and enjoyable? But perhaps the most important thing you need to remember is to give yourself permission to actually start thinking like the commander of your own business and be open to learning. This is why I'm inviting you to actually schedule a call with me so that we can have a chat, so we can see exactly what it is that you're doing within your business. Are you actually running your business as a freelancer, or are you running a business as a coach or consultant that actually deserves to command value in the marketplace? All right. So if you want to take advantage of this offer that I'm putting on the table, so that you can literally structure your business and you don't have to cede power to your clients and buckle under the pressure, just so you could charge any less, I invite you to schedule a call with me. All right. And when you schedule a call with me, we'll work hands-on with you to actually develop a strategic plan and then deep dive and work through your ideal client clarity. Because if you know who exactly you want to work with, it's easy for you to actually market yourself in such a way that people see you as a high level individual. And once your clients you're clear on who can actually pay you, we start creating and crafting strategic messaging, which now brings these people to you. You spend very little time looking for work if you have strategic messaging around, your marketing, because work comes to you mainly through word of mouth and referrals. You're arming your clients with the right kind of message and the right kind of pains that your products and solutions can fix for them. Once the people have showed up, we will craft your consulting offers, look at your fees and pricing, and also adjust your business model so that you don't have to cede your power to clients and buckle under the pressure, when clients show up and you don't know what to serve them. And once we've got all of that in place, you now have a new and better model, which is to be a coach or consultant who sits firmly in their driver's seat. And I'll help you drive this car. I'll just help you set up your marketing engine and lead generation system so you can constantly attract your ideal clients, and you will never have to beg people to hire you ever again. Let me tell you something. A lot of coaches and consultants fail to achieve the level of success they deserve simply because they don't control of their own business. I would want to help you create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au